Good morning. Just waiting for the hush over the crowd. Welcome to United. My name is Aaron Loy, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm the worship facilitator for today's service. It's my first time, so God bless all of you. Our musician today is Alex Chilson, as always. Childcare is available in the back. We're glad to have Jay McDivitt, retired Lutheran pastor, as our guest speaker. It's great to see all of you today. I want to extend a special welcome to visitors and guests, or for those that maybe I haven't met. I hope you'll all join us after the service for coffee and conversation. A few announcements, quite a few of them. June 14th, Waukesha Resist from 11 to 1 will be at the library, if you guys want to join for that. 1 to 5, I think I spoke. No, it's 11 to 1. It is 11 to 1. Okay, thank you. June 15th, coffee hosts are needed for the service. Not anymore. Not needed? Do I hear a second? Okay. June 22nd, Love in Action will be on inclusion. Sam needs a few helpers. Sam is in the back if you want to see Sam, if you could help with that. June 29th, no service, so you can come, but no one will be here. Also, we need help watering and weeding of the gardens here at the church. If you guys can help with that, please see Susan Bergman in the back. Finally, if you guys have your order of service, you can turn to the back of it. There's a pretty important announcement. You guys can read in the middle of the page there. At the annual meeting, it was explained that the UUUC still has a little over $106,000 left on the mortgage, and the interest rate on the loan is 6.35%. Our payment every month is $735, and while the principal and interest changes each month will vary, the charges will each month will vary. The June payment was $160 toward principal and $575 towards the interest. Every additional dollar we apply toward the principal reduces the length of the time that we have to pay on the mortgage. So if we can raise money to pay off the mortgage, we'll save $735 a month according to our paper. So what can we do with another $8,820 annually? Lots of different things. Maybe a 3/4 time minister, a religious educator, more money for social justice. Just imagine the many things that we could do with more money. To that point, really important announcement. This is why we'd like to start a mortgage fundraiser. Mike R. will match dollar for dollar any donations that are received before Christmas towards a mortgage reduction up to $50,000. So very gracious. I saw Mike earlier. Oh, he's hiding. Thank you, Mike. There's Mike. So your donation does not have to be thousands and thousands of dollars, right? Small amounts, any amount is welcome. So if you have an extra $5, 10, or 20 extra month, you can make a donation. We thank you for that. If you're able to make a larger donation, again, we thank you. You can scan the QR code, as you guys see on the back of the order of service, also during our offertory for that. Follow the prompts, donate, it's pretty simple. Whatever method you use to donate, please note that it's for the mortgage so they know where the money is going for that. Oh, nice. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. I believe we're going to move on with our service and invite our choir. Or not? We'll invite our choir up to sing. We're going to hear, I believe it's Robert Hugh, is that correct? Clearwater. So let's welcome our choir singing for us this morning.
Quod must go down to the seas again, to the lonely sea and the sky. And all I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer her above. And the wheels kick and the wind song and the sailboard sail it is shaking. And the grey mist on the sea's face and the dawn, great dawn, it is breaking. I must go down to the seas again, for the call of the tide is a wild call and a clear call, and may not be denied. And all I ask is a windy day with the clouds like clouds all flying, and the flung spray and the moon sea and the gulls that are crying to the sea. Darkness settles on the roofs and walls, but the sea in darkness calls. The little waves with their soft white hands efface the footprints in the sand. And the tide rises and the tide falls, and the tide rises and the tide will fall through water. I must go down to the seas again, to the lonely sea and sky. And all I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer her above. And the wheels kick and the wind song and the sailboard sail it is shaking. And the grey mist on the sea's face and the dawn, great dawn, it is breaking. Sea and sky.
That was wonderful. Thank you. We're now going to do our call to worship. It is May Your Call Be Awakened by Michelle LeGrave. This is one of the first ones that our family heard when we started coming to the congregation, and I really like it, and I hope you do as well. We come to religious community from many paths and with diverse needs. If you have come here seeking comfort, may your pain be soothed. If you have come here looking for answers, may you find new questions. If you have come here seeking purpose, may your call be awakened. If you have come here hoping to build a new way, may the path open before you. Each Sunday, we light our flaming chalice, a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. Please join me in saying the words on the wall. As we do this, I did change them from what I believe we have done for the past few weeks because I wanted to, so. Yeah, I'm very you already, right? Okay. May the light of truth illumine our minds. May the spark of love set our hearts on fire. May the flame of freedom burn brightly within us, now and always. And now please rise in body and spirit. We will be singing hymn 148, Let Freedom Span Both East and West.
Let freedom span both east and west, let love both sound and north, in universal fellowship throughout the whole wide earth, in beauty, splendor everywhere, let us communion find. Compassion be the golden cord, close binding humankind. Beyond all barriers of race, of color, caste, or creed, let us make friendship, human worth, a common faith and deed. Then east and west will meet and share, and south shall build with north, one human commonwealth of good throughout the whole wide earth.
You know they're new when they have to bring the binder to the microphone. Okay, joys and sorrows. We build our sense of community by sharing milestones in our individual lives, those joys and sorrows that make up who we are. If you have something to share, please come forward to the microphone. Tell us your name and what's on your mind. Take a stone from the bowl as you do so, and when you are finished, place the stone in the bowl with the water, and let the ripples carry your concerns out to the wider community.
Hi, my name is Lily, and I got a gold medal for first place in my first, second, and third place. So I got the medals, so it was really cool. This weekend it was hot, but track meet, javelin, running long jump, and 100-meter run. So thank you.
We have a birthday in the house. Today is Dennis's birthday, and he does not like attention.
My name is Debbie Brownlow, and many of you know that my mother has been sick for the last 3.5 months and has needed additional care. She was living independently prior to that. On Monday, we got the call that we should come to the hospital, and she passed away that night. And I want to tell you, my sister said something wonderful. She said, Mom had 94 years of really good health, 3.5 months of a struggle, and a beautiful day because we moved her by ambulance from the hospital to hospice. She was there by noon. Her grandchildren that she still has contact with all came. Her children were there, one great-grandchild. It was so beautiful. And I'm very proud to say that I'll be officiating at her. I'll be the MC at her event. It's going to be private. But I chose a reading that my sisters were happy with, so that made me, from 7:20. It's called We Remember Them. They said, don't keep saying we remember them so often, but I'm very excited that being a Unitarian, I get to use that for my mother and for me and Jim.
That's the same one that I picked to do my dad's a year ago. At a non-UU service. Sorry.
My name is Safira, and I'm happy that I'm getting a new baby cousin.
I'm Donna, and on Friday, Herb and I would have been married 72 years. So I was all happy. I'd been to a symphony, and I came home and I thought, I'm going to call my maid of honor, and we can reminisce. So I called, and the phone was disconnected. So I called her son. He didn't answer. And then I got like, uh-oh. So I looked it up, and she had died in March. Didn't know that. In about April, I sent her a really nice little friendship card using one of those things I bought at the auction, handmade. I got it back in the mail yesterday. So anyway, it's just, I just had such happy thoughts to go and reminisce, and boy, did that change in a hurry. So this is for my friend Donna with two N's.
I'm Patty, and the person, maybe that stone. The person that I'm holding up is my friend Sharon. We've been friends since high school. We took a graduation from college trip together. I went to meet with her and spend time with her last year in Alaska. She is moving from Alaska after living there 41 years. It's wrenching because the beauty of Alaska is like, there's nowhere she can move to and have what she had. But we've been in really close contact while she's packing. There was a moose that was visiting in her yard when I was there. There's multiple moose. I mean, she used to put out a water trough for moose and enjoy their visits greatly. She sent me a picture Friday of the moose and the two babies that the moose brought to her yard because it's safe space. Even though she's not putting out the water because she's moving. She's planning on leaving Thursday. She's moved that plan back several times, but she believes she's leaving Thursday. She's fairly certain that she's going to have a buyer for her house without having to list it. She's moving to Minnesota because she's going to become a grandmother, and the as yet unborn person gets named Marvin, at least so far. So she's pretty happy, but she's in a super huge transition.
Hi, my name is Molly, and on Thursday, me and my friend Elmo and my teacher, we went rock climbing, and for our 6th grade trip. So we went rock climbing for about 2 hours, and then we went to Culver's and we had lunch, and then we went rock climbing again for about an hour, and it was really fun. Really glad I get to do that with my school. It's gonna be fun. Yeah.
Just a few things. It's Gay Pride Month, June 8th today, is the parade in Milwaukee. On Saturday, June 14th, we're hosting LGBT Waukesha here at our church. There's going to be lots of vendors and stuff. You'd have to come to see exactly what's here. I don't know. We'll find out. But think about coming and stopping by and giving your support. The real reason I'm up here is make a note to come to church next Sunday, because we're going to be welcoming a new family, the Loy family, as official members, and we're having a welcoming ceremony for some little people and some for some junior high kids. Well, they don't say junior high, middle school kids. So please make a point of coming. It'll be a fun service. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Diane. I'm back again. You just reminded me that, 14th is a big march and protest day in Madison. Dennis and I are going to be going from 12 to 2, meet down at Library Court, and then going to go up State Street. So organized by the Women's March, and I'm sure many other organizations, and it's the Kick Out the Clowns celebration.
Hi, I'm Dave, and I have a joy to share. Our son got married 3 weeks ago. It was a wonderful event. He married a wonderful young lady, goes by Jacoby, that's her last name. They've been going together for 12 years, and we would never say anything. But Steve and his grandpa teased each other since Steve was about that tall. So when we would go down there and visit with Jacoby, he would say, Steve, when are you going to marry that girl? So we had a way of putting a little pressure on him, but not through ourselves. At any rate, it was a wonderful event, and we're so thrilled for them, and we're so happy to have another family member.
Right. This is quite a day. All right. I have a couple of joys, one of which is that Molly and I weren't here last week because my nephew was getting married in Madison. So, we were excited to celebrate his wedding to his wife's name is Naya. Molly, you want to come too? Okay.
I took the pictures.
Yes, and Molly's finding a new calling. Hard to imagine. I bet you can't imagine her as a wedding photographer. She did it. It was a very informal event. Yes, and so that's one. And then the second joy is that Molly's brother, Harry, my stepson, graduates from high school on Saturday, the 14th. So all the Waukesha schools are having their graduation that day. So we will be doing that probably instead of protesting, even though that is very important. So there's good things.
And I will place one last stone for all those joys and sorrows that remain unspoken, but on our hearts and minds. Let us carry all of these into the days and weeks ahead. Please join in singing our response.
Walking with you is our prayer.
Now we're going to do our story for all ages. So if we can get the children inside, we've got a special one for you. Are you excited? Yeah. It's basically my family that's slow right now, so, go figure. Okay, so our story for today I actually found through the UU on our month's topic of freedom. It's a story that didn't have any illustrations, but I knew someone very close to me that knows how to do illustrations. So the story is The Beautiful Tiger by Christopher Buse? ? Yeah, we'll go with that. There once was a beautiful and powerful tiger. One day she was captured by a mean and cruel man who put her into a cage. The man kept the cage in the jungle not far from his house. Every day he would bring out a bowl of water and some food for the lonely tiger. Sometimes the tiger would see her own reflection in the bowl of water and she would say, "My, I must be a beautiful tiger." When the man heard her say this, he would lie and tell her, "No, you are not a beautiful tiger. You're very ugly. You're a pitiful creature." Sadly, the tiger would believe the man. Some days after she ate her food, she would walk back and forth in her small cage and feel energy and power moving through her body, and she would say, "My, I must be a powerful tiger." When the man heard this, he would say to her, he would lie to her and tell her, "No, you are weak and puny. You're a pitiful creature." Sadly, the tiger would believe the man. Then one day, when the man was nowhere around, a lion happened to walk by the cage. The lion saw the tiger inside and spoke to her, "Beautiful and powerful tiger, what are you doing lying about in that cage?" "Do not make fun of me," replied the tiger. "I know that I am neither beautiful nor powerful." "I'm not making fun of you," said the lion. "You are surely the most beautiful and powerful tiger I have ever seen. I am only surprised to see you lying here when you are clearly strong enough to break out of that cage." "You really think I could break out of here?" asked the tiger. "Quite easily, I should think," replied the lion. The tiger was not so sure at first. She had been told so many times that she was a weak and pitiful creature. But suddenly, it seemed that she could feel energy and strength moving throughout her body. She began to pace back and forth in her cage, and then almost without thought, she leapt against the cage door and it flew open without any resistance. Once outside, she seemed dazed. "That cage didn't even have a lock on it," she said. "I spent so much of my life stuck in there, and the door wasn't even locked." The lion looked at her with soft brown eyes and said, "Those kind of traps don't need locks, for it is the lies we believe in that keep us in our cages, and it is the truth that sets us free." And we will respond.
Go lifted up, love bless your way. Moonlight, starlight, guide your journey into peace and the brightness of day.
Each week in our church, we take up an offering. It's good to remind ourselves that the offering is symbolic as well as practical. Through pledges, we build our budget and fund our yearly programs and ministries of worship and religious education, pay our staff, professional religious leaders, and finance the comfort and beauty of our building. And we know that we can easily submit these pledge checks to our church at any convenient time. And if you're unawares, on the back of the order of service, there's a new QR code that makes it very convenient if you use your phone to make donations and pledges as well. But we do pass the plate during worship to make a community expression of thanks for the blessing of abundance. Our offering says that the act of giving is as essential to our spiritual well-being as anything else we do here on a Sunday morning. And the morning offering will now be received. Okay, so please welcome me in returning Jay for today's message.
Never been introduced as the returning Jay. I think that. A reading from the book of Acts. When the day of Pentecost had come, they were all together in one place. And suddenly from heaven there came a sound like the rush of a violent wind, and it filled the entire house where they were sitting. Divided tongues as of fire appeared among them, and a tongue rested on each of them. All of them were filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak in other languages as the Spirit gave them ability. Now there were devout Jews from every people under heaven living in Jerusalem, and at this sound the crowd gathered and was bewildered, because each one heard them speaking in the native language of each. Amazed and astonished, they asked, "Are not all these who are speaking Galileans? And how is it that we hear, each of us, in our own native language, Parthians, Medes, Elamites, and residents of Mesopotamia, Judea and Cappadocia, Pontus and Asia, Phrygia and Pamphylia, Egypt and the parts of Libya belonging to Cyrene, visitors from Rome, both Jews and proselytes, Cretans and Arabs, in our own languages, we hear them speaking about God's deeds of power." All were amazed and perplexed, saying to one another, "What does this mean?" But others sneered and said, "They are filled with new wine." I knew you would laugh at that. But Peter, standing with the 11, raised his voice and addressed them, "Fellow Jews and all who live in Jerusalem, let this be known to you, and listen to what I say. Indeed, these are not drunk, as you suppose, for it is only 9 o'clock in the morning. See? No, this is what was spoken through the prophet Joel. In the last days it will be, God declares, that I will pour out my Spirit upon all flesh. And your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your young men shall see visions, your old men shall dream dreams. Even upon my slaves, both men and women, in those days I will pour out my Spirit, and they shall prophesy, and everyone who calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved." And a reading from Galatians. For freedom, Christ has set us free. Stand firm, therefore, and do not submit again to a yoke of slavery, for you were called to freedom. Only do not use your freedom as an opportunity for self-indulgence, but through love become slaves to one another. For the whole law is summed up in a single commandment: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. And the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. There is no law against these things. As always, friends, it is a privilege to gather with you around this flame. What would you do if you suddenly had 1 extra hour of every day? Not an extra hour of the most boring parts of your job, or the witching hour where the kids refuse to go to bed, or the creaking joints in the morning, but an extra hour to do exactly what you most love to do. What would you do if you had an extra hour of truly free time to do anything and exactly what you want? Or imagine getting a whole extra year of life, more than your genes, your choices, and plain dumb luck have allotted for your lifespan. Not another year of advancing dementia or battling cancer or wading through a nasty divorce, but an extra year right in the prime of your life. A year to live fully and happily free to do whatever you want. What would you do? I mean, how often do you think about all the things you could do if you just had more time? If your life were truly your own to do whatever you wanted. If you weren't a slave to the clock, the one ticking away on your watch, your phone, or in your body. Your theme this month is freedom, which is a tricky thing to think about as people of faith. Tricky because our culture, and especially this country, have a distorted idea of what freedom means. Too often when we think of freedom, we think of the flag-waving cries of liberty and don't tread on me, which really means something like, I get to do whatever I want, whenever I want, and no one gets to tell me any different. That image of freedom is both wrong and dangerous. It's wrong because if we're honest with ourselves, we are nowhere near free. None of us gets to do whatever we want, whenever we want. We have bosses, children, parents, spouses, bank accounts, diagnoses, addictions, tax forms, laws, bodies, and all the other countless ways in which our bodies and our lives are enslaved and controlled. Maybe it's that very fact of just how in bondage we are that makes us so desperate to loudly declare our independence, as if by saying it more often and loudly, it'll become just slightly more true. Good luck with that. But more than wrong, this kind of freedom, when we actually get the chance to air it out, is dangerous. Dangerous because everything I do inevitably affects the world around me. It's that single garment of destiny stuff that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke of. Everything I do either helps or harms my neighbor, the earth, and all its creatures. My don't tread on me flex almost always leads to me treading on you. So if that's not what freedom means, or at least not what it ought to mean, for people of faith, then what can it mean instead? Rooted as I am in my Lutheran tradition, I can't think of freedom without going to Martin Luther's Freedom of a Christian. Despite being very much a product of his 16th century German male mind, it really does hold up as a brief treatise on the heart of Lutheran theology. That matters to me, it may not to you. But we don't need to get into all of that stuff. I promise, I'm not trying to convert you. Rather, it's enough to just hear the book's most powerful insight into what freedom means in the context of faith. Luther writes, "A Christian is a perfectly free ruler of all, subject to none. And a Christian is a perfectly dutiful servant of all, subject to all." Now, Luther was a deeply committed Christian theologian, and I won't in any way pretend that he had a congregation of 21st century Unitarian Universalists in mind when he wrote these paradoxical sentences. But as a Lutheran, I happily embrace the perfectly biblical view of universal salvation.
That is, I believe that God wants nothing more than for all of creation to be renewed and redeemed, to be given holy and beloved meaning on every side of every death. And while the less biblical doctrine of the Holy Trinity is a mystery that I'm both enamored of and, let's face it, contractually obligated to confess, I am perfectly fine expanding Luther's vision of Christian freedom to those who have very little room in their lives for the Jesus of Christian orthodoxy. And I'm not convinced that Luther would mind it all that much either. What I mean by that is this: no matter your faith tradition or lack thereof, I fully believe that it is God's dream for you to be truly and wholly free, alive and beloved on every side of every kind of death. And I honestly believe that God is capable of fulfilling that dream. That is, she keeps her promises. But free from what? Now, in my tradition, we call it sin, which leads to every kind of death that stands in the way of God's holy dream. Our definition of sin is incurvatus in se, because we love Latin. Literally means to be curved in on the self. That is, this innate and all-consuming belief that I am the center of the universe. Now, sometimes that manifests as excessive pride, vanity, and selfishness. Sometimes it manifests as shame and guilt, that pervasive sense of inadequacy that comes from measuring ourselves against everyone else. But whether we're self-aggrandizing or self-flagellating, it comes from the same place. That navel-gazing, world-ignoring tendency to obsess about ourselves to the exclusion of all else. Now, of course, we don't only stare at ourselves. We look outward, too, but mostly and firstly in comparison. Who's better than I am? Who am I better than? What are they thinking about me? Why won't they just leave me alone? Why haven't they apologized yet? When will I afford a house like that? Who would ever go out in public looking like her? Now, maybe I'm alone in all this, and y'all are living lives perfectly free of this kind of judgment and shame. But if you've ever looked in a mirror and hated what you see, or looked at a neighbor and felt just a little bit worse about yourself, or held onto a grudge a little too long, or stayed awake beating yourself up for something dumb you said several years ago at a party, then this word of grace is for you. It is God's holy dream for you to let that shit go. To be fully and wholly free from every broken measuring stick, every funhouse mirror, every tally sheet. God is flooding the world with grace and bathing you in love so that you might be free from shame and guilt, free from judgment and comparison, free from records of wrongs and measures of worth. Whatever you've been told and whatever you think about the crucifixion, in my world, that story is God's way of telling us once and for all that God would rather die than be in the sin accounting and shame piling business ever again. And the resurrection is the ultimate sign that there is, in fact, abundant life on the other side of this valley of judgment and shame. At the beginning, I asked you to imagine what you would do if you had a little extra free time in your life. How much time would be freed up in your life if you never spent a moment hating how you look, obsessing about your weight, comparing yourself to your neighbors, chastising yourself for your mistakes, holding on to grudges, numbing yourself with chemicals so you don't have to feel the world's weight, or working yourself into a health crisis to prove your worth? What if you could truly live free in the knowledge that who you are is enough? That you are beautiful, beloved and blessed just the way you are. That you have nothing to prove to anyone, least of all the Holy One. That you owe no one an explanation. That you are a gift. Period. And so are they, every one of them. That's the freedom that God dreams of for you. Despite all the ways that religious communities have perfected the art of the guilt trip, God's holy goal is freedom from all of that crap. You are a perfectly free ruler of all, subject to none. So what are you going to do with all that time that you used to pour into serving the broken story of being better or worse than everyone else? That's where the Pentecost story comes in handy. Pentecost is that wacky story of the birthday of the Christian movement when God literally breathed fire into the world and equipped the church to speak in tongues. But lest you think that this story conjures up images of tambourine-shaking snake handlers writhing on the floor and shouting in gibberish, not that there's anything wrong with that, listen again to what really surprised the people in attendance that day. How is it that we, from all of our unpronounceable countries and peoples, are hearing these illiterate fishermen speaking in our own tongues? That is, the Spirit did not enable the disciples to speak in languages that no one could understand, nor did the Spirit enable the foreigners to speak Aramaic or Greek so that they could speak and sing and pray just like the disciples. Rather, the Spirit empowered the disciples to learn new languages, to speak to their neighbors in their neighbors' tongues. Rather than those people changing their language, stories, traditions, and lives to look, speak, and act like us, God's purpose at Pentecost was to equip us to become like them, to walk a mile in their shoes, to learn what dreams and visions they might have, so that the church might grow to fully reflect and embody the rich and holy diversity of God's vast creation. In stark contrast to the tragic history of the Christian movement, the Pentecost moment is the literal, actual opposite of colonialism. Which is to say that whatever God is up to in the world, and by whatever name you may call her, God's impulse has always been to move us out and away from ourselves and towards our neighbors, to cultivate empathy, which suddenly has become a bad word, to speak each other's languages, that we might feel each other's pain and rejoice in each other's giftedness. Free from our obsession with our own successes and failures, we have all the time in the world to serve one another. Rather than being turned in on ourselves, we are free to be turned out towards everyone else. Because as free as you are also, at the same time, a perfectly dutiful servant and subject to all. We do not belong to ourselves. We belong to one another and to the God who made us all. We are free from shame and judgment, not so that we can heap shame and judgment on our neighbors, but so that we can make life more beloved and blessed for everyone. My hope for you this summer is that you do, in fact, have some free time. Specifically, time that is free from shame and guilt, comparison and judgment, free from grudges and resentments. Not so that you can just do your own thing, although certainly, as creation and the Ten Commandments make very clear, Sabbath rest is an absolute and gracious gift. But also, so that you can take at least some of that energy and invest it in making life a little more holy, a little more gentle, a little more just, and yes, a little more free for your neighbors. In doing so, I earnestly believe that you will glimpse a little bit more of God's eternal truth, and that truth will make you free. Amen.
Please rise in body or spirit as we respond by singing hymn 170, We Are a Gentle, Angry People.
We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives.
And now we extinguish this chalice flame, daring to carry forward the vision of this free faith, that freedom, reason, and justice will one day prevail in this nation and across the earth.
You better think about what you're trying to do to me. Oh, now think, let mind go, let yourself be free. Let's go back, let's go back, let's go way back to way back when. I didn't even know you, you couldn't have been much more than 10. I ain't no psychiatrist. psychiatrist ain't no doctor with degrees. But it don't take too much high IQ to see what you're doing to me. You gotta think about what you're trying to do to me. Oh, now think. Let your mind go, let yourself be free. Here we go. Now freedom, freedom, freedom. Oh, freedom, 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 freedom. Oh, freedom. There ain't nothing you could ask, I could answer you, but I won't. I was gonna change you, but now that you keep doing things I don't. You better think about what you're trying to do to me. Oh, now think. Let your mind go, let yourself be free. People walking around every day playing games and taking scores, trying to make other people lose their mind. Now be careful you don't lose yours. Oh, now think. Think about what you're trying to do to me. Oh, now think. Let your mind go, let yourself be free. You need me and I need you. Without each other, there ain't nothing we can do. Now freedom, freedom, freedom. Oh, now freedom, 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 freedom. Oh, now freedom, 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 freedom. Talk about freedom. Freedom, 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 oh now freedom. It's so much more fun singing it with you than it is singing it by myself at home.